Hey-o.
What's up? What's up?
What is
That
up?
Nate.
Good evening, guys.
How you guys doing tonight? What's up, Nate?
What's going on, you sexy bitches?
Hey-o. What's up,
You're
brother?
looking thin, speaking of sexy.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
putting in the work.
Got a long ways to go. So,
Man, I was just thinking.
We got
I have not been exercising. I've just been trying to snack less and eat less junk food, overeat, all that kind of stuff. But we after doing some of the snow blowing and stuff, my back is all sore, my forearms are all sore, my fingers are all sore. I'm like, man, I need to get, I'm gonna be feeling it come springtime if I just go out there and start mowing real hard. So I need to get more physical here soon.
do you have your Darwin grip on that shovel? You do?
No, I should have tried that. No, I have it on my trimmer. I didn't take it off.
I was thinking that would probably be nice.
That could have helped. Yeah. Well, if we get more snow, maybe I'll throw it on there. But I'm hoping for no more snow. I'm kind of over it now. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for spring.
Same.
we only really had like one good snow. And the other one was maybe like, I don't know, 2-3 inches. Like, I don't know. Like, and the one where we got, I don't know, like,
I don't know, that one where you guys
10
got like what? Yeah. You guys
10
had
or
one
12
big
inches.
one, right?
Yeah. And it was like -5. So like, I was definitely not in any like mood or like, atmosphere to like make any content or even like set anything up. I was just like, yep, it's freaking cold out. It's windy. I'm going to get out. Yeah. Like get it done and get out of there. And it's just like, it kind of sucked because, I really didn't take any pictures or do anything this winter. And I feel like maybe we'll get like one more snowfall and that's it. So,
Well, I did see that you actually verified how much snow you got, right? You went out there and measured it real quick, man. That must have been, so much snow, dude. Crazy.
Yeah.
Your wife was shocked at how many inches you guys got.
Yeah, so she kept looking out the window. She's like, babe, I think that looks like a solid 8 inches to me. And so I was like, I'll go measure, honey. Sure enough, it was definitely 8 inches.
Oh, man.
So no, that's crazy. Yeah, I was just messing around. I had this stupid idea, and it was funny because I was going around and like, and we actually got like 10 or 12 inches. And I was like going around trying to find like where a drift was or around the corner of my house. Yeah, where it was a low spot. So it was only like 2-3 inches. And I found that and I'm like, oh, perfect. And sure shit, I just checked. It was at 7.5 million views right now, which is just freaking mind blowing.
That's insane. Well, that was super funny. I could see why folks respond to it. But that would definitely be one that I would send to my wife or she would send to me if I came across it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's been fun. Lots of good comments in there. And it's so funny because a lot of people are like, I wonder what she says about your dick. And I'm like, you figured out the whole joke. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, seriously, are you that stupid? Like, come on. But man. It's been funny.
How much have you gotten, Zach? What was your biggest so far this year?
Well, I've had about one big one, and it was it was about 13 inches.
Nice.
And a
couple deep.
Yeah, a couple other smaller ones. But yeah, this year we haven't gotten. Last year we got way more snow than we have this year. So
yeah.
It looks like it's probably done, but yeah, I was pumped. And then I spent like 2-3 nights in a row just staying up late, trying to keep up on it. Just because I'm out here in the country and it blows all around and big drifts. And then after that third night, I was over it. But I was having fun the first two.
Yeah, one thing I've just been kind of paying attention to, and obviously like snow coverage is good. And it's gonna kind of keep the insulation and keep the moisture and everything. But like I've really been noticing as the snow's starting to melt, because today it was like 55 here, and so the snow's melting from the edges. You're on your sidewalks and your driveway and all that, and like there's a drastic color difference between where maybe like the bigger piles are that have melted down and everything's melted away. There's still some green color underneath those deep piles. But everywhere around my sidewalks, my driveway, I mean, it's checked out and it's completely lost its color, at all. But it's just kind of interesting to see just the contrast of a good snow coverage versus something that's been kind of exposed to the wind, exposed to the elements over the last month and cold. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see like how it rebounds next year, and if you can see any difference between the middle of your yard versus like the edges and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Do you use salt on your driveway? Does anybody?
I did once this
Put
year.
one time, yeah.
Just because we had like an ice storm. They were predicting an ice storm and then snow on top of it, and that's, to me, that's like one of the worst combos when you get ice and snow. So I was like, well, I'm at least gonna throw. I think I bought a 10-pound bag. I still got probably half of it left, and I just did my driveway and my sidewalks and my stairs and stuff like that. But I did it more just so it wasn't ice underneath, so I could at least get the snow off and try and get down to the bare concrete. Because as soon as you get down to the bare concrete and the sun comes out, then it's gonna melt it all away and stuff like that. Which to me, then you got that nice clean look. But if you just get the top of it off, the sun's still gonna struggle to melt it off. But
Cool.
One thing, speaking of that, like I don't know if you guys saw it. So the guy that runs Fenway Park, I shared it in my story the other day, but so at Fenway Park, they actually got like an ice coverage. And so they actually had their, they looked like a Lesco spreader or whatever. They actually had them out on the field spreading black sand. And what he was talking
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. So what he was talking about in the comments was saying that the black sand is going to be kind of like we talked about it with the guys from the Rose Bowl with they're doing their green sand.
The green sand, yeah.
Yeah, but he's saying the black sand will actually attract more solar energy, solar heat, and it'll actually melt off that ice and get it off there quicker, which I thought was super cool. The other thing I thought that was super cool is just seeing the complete white snow-covered field and throwing down the black on the spreader. I'm like, well, damn, that's a hell of a way to see like your spreader range.
Where's my coverage?
Yeah. So it was actually really, really cool. And, I didn't know what he was doing. And so I read into it and stuff. And, I wouldn't think they'd have spreaders out there on the snow, but yeah, it was he said it was kind of perfect conditions where they could get out there and do that and try and melt the snow off real quick using that black sand. So pretty interesting. Cool. Stuff you don't even think about from like a homeowner, and and then you get into the professional side of it and they're thinking, let's get this off there as soon as possible, and start keeping the field the way it is. But it's pretty neat.
Well, hey, welcome everybody. Keep Off the Grass livecast.
Ted is loading in right now.
Oh, good. We were trying to kill some time.
Ted from Ohio Earth Foods here, and he had to deliver a load all the way up to the thumb of Michigan and drive back. And he's in Southern Ohio. So he's just now getting back from the road and he's popping right on his computer. So anyway, you can continue, Bill.
He's just running those red lights, just getting here as quick as he can. But let's, before we get too far into it, while he's loading up, how about we all grab a glass, keep off the grass.
I got a coffee.
There you go. I got a Diet Coke. Coke Zero.
We're lame now.
Yeah, we are.
Hey,
I can't wait till like day 101, man.
Day one. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
I can hear everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry I'm so late, guys.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So what were you up to?
Oh, well, this is our busy season with farmers. So I had a route 3 drops in Ann Arbor and then one up in the thumb of Michigan. It's all hands on deck this time of year. I got a big box truck running, a flatbed running, and then for trucks or drops that need a flatbed, I drive a truck and trailer, and just making deliveries.
Awesome.
Racing home to come jump on the show. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
really
the speed limits in Michigan now are 75. So make some time.
Yeah, exactly. Right on. Well, thanks for coming in. We are talking with Ohio Earth Food tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about who you guys are and what you guys do? What makes you guys unique a little bit versus somewhere else?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me on, and Zach, thanks for putting this all together. Hopefully, it didn't make you too nervous there. You spent about 2 months setting this up just for me to blow it.
It's all
So
good.
my
No,
earth is
appreciate it.
actually 50 years old this year. My brother and I purchased it 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years in September, and it was originally started by a guy in Northeast Ohio named Larry Ringer that was an organic farmer before there was a USDA organic program. And he just was looking for a source for products that you'd consider organic, and just started, having things made, making things, buying and reselling. And yeah, it's just pretty much old school distribution business. Probably 60% of our customers are Amish Mennonite. So a lot of handwritten mail, and we still do a catalog we mail out. And I would say business has evolved a little bit from the original, not a whole lot. The only difference is now is we sell probably 5 or 10% now is hemp and cannabis, and 5 or 10% is lawn care, and then roughly 80% is still agriculture.
Cool.
Yeah, so liquid, granular fertilizers, disease, insect control, foliar sprays, all that can be used for certified organic. We have about 136 products, and only 2 of which cannot be used for certified organic. One of them is corn gluten meal that we sell for yard lawn care as a kind of a natural, can't say organic, but because the corn is GMO corn, because organic corn is in too high demand for feed and food. But yeah, so for our lawn care business, we sell a little bit of some of the amendments, soft rock phosphorus, sulfate of potash, but mostly we sell our Revita fertilizers, which are 4 different analysis of composted chicken manure. We add kelp and humate to all of them. And then one of them is a high K, so we add sulfate of potash. And then one of them is a high N, so we add blood meal and feather meal. And then one is called Revita Pro, and it's just a kind of a balanced product. So we add bone meal, feather meal, and sulfate of potash. So yeah, it's, unfortunately for a do-it-yourselfer, it's a little tricky because to make up for all the money I think that Amazon's losing, or that the UPS is losing on Amazon selling trinkets, now 50 pounds, anything over 50 pounds is like a $20 premium on UPS. So one bag of our fertilizer, even mailed the next state over, the bag of fertilizer is only $28, but the UPS is like 50. So yeah, we've tried to set up dealers around the Midwest to cut down on that, send them pallets so they can sell it by the bag. And that's helped a little, but got some commercial clients. There's a lawn doctor franchise in Pepper Pike, Ohio, up by Cleveland, just bought 2 semi-loads of the 545. He's going to spread that this summer. And yeah, there's several other smaller lawn care groups and that's the 545 is the one that most of the lawn care professionals are using.
Now, do you guys produce it and bag it all up as far as mixing it, and as far as where are you getting like your chicken manure materials and like your feather, and where's all your materials coming from?
Yeah, and that's, when people say you bought a company, what do you buy? A lot of it is that whole well, we make it in 2 different places, the 2 different analysis, and they're both in conjunction with large egg houses, because so the 545, hopefully if things go well, we'll sell probably 1,300 ton this year. So that requires about 500,000 chickens worth of manure. So yeah, we buy that from the 545. We buy it from an Eggland's Best egg house, and they've got 1.5 million birds. They sell it for other uses, but we buy about 1/3 of their manure, and then we furnish all the other ingredients. And then we've got a facility there where we composted and windrows in a 400-foot long warehouse that's aerated from the bottom. And there's like a U-shaped turner that goes over these piles. The manure, not such a great PETA story, but good for the fertilizer. It never, these birds are in kind of like cages that are suspended and over a conveyor belt. So the manure, the fertilizer, you wouldn't, if it weren't brown and had a little bit of odor, you wouldn't even know what it was. There's no feathers in it, no hay, no straw, very clean. Like to the point where golf courses spread it on their fairways. We even have one golf course in Cincinnati that spreads on tee boxes. It's a little too coarse for greens, but super clean. And it goes right into this huge room where it's windrow composted for about 7 weeks. So yeah, and then the other products that we carry, the feather meal, we get that from chicken. I mean, there's just almost a different story for every product. And that's kind of what I do. This time of year, I run deliveries because I like to get out and see customers. But kind of what I do is a lot of the ordering and the coordinating and the forecasting and getting stuff staged. And that all starts in like October. And we also make a potting soil that's real popular. And so you got to get all those manufacturers and all those suppliers up and running. And it's kind of from here until April, it's just kind of like showtime, and it all kind of hopefully comes together.
Awesome.
So then, I was checking out your guys' website, and I was curious about the Avenger herbicide, the citrus oil.
Yeah.
I mean, other folks may know about it, but I was unaware. It sounds like it's almost like a natural version, of the glyphosate. I don't know how effective is it, and do folks use it to clear fields and then before replanting and that sort of stuff, or is it a good alternative?
You could, and it would work. It's a strong citric acid, and it just kind of melts the cuticle of the plant away, and then the plant kind of dies. So unlike glyphosate, it's not systemic. You have to coat it till dripping. It's not going to get into. It works very well. Very interesting story. That manufacturer, they started kind of getting into their stride right when all the lawsuits for glyphosate came out, and these guys thought they were, on to the next $1 trillion idea, and they started raising their price. And the stuff, if you ask me, it's cost prohibitive. I sell less and less every year. When we first started carrying that product, we were carrying a product called Burnout, which was a cinnamon vinegar based, and it didn't work that well. It smelled nice, but didn't work that well. And so this product works great, but it's gotten so expensive that yes, you could burn down a lawn with it, but it would cost I think a gallon concentrate will get you about 5,000 to 6,000 square feet, if I remember correctly. And I think that they're up to like, $75 for a gallon. I mean, it's outrageous. It's just too expensive. And
you guys just sell that. That's just a product you sell, and that's in your catalog.
Yeah. It's $80 for a gallon.
But that's just an alternative for somebody who wants a Roundup version of something like that. If you got to pay a premium for it. It sounds like now.
You do. I mean, I honestly though, I've just, when I've redone lawns, I've just tilled it. I just kind of skipped that step, and I don't know. I mean, a short story that was very interesting, that the guy that founded that company, he came and visited me. We had a customer that was going to try to plant corn and then use that as a pre-emergent to kill weeds. Time it just right. He kind of messed up the application, but the whole trip, this guy was a nervous wreck. He thought that Monsanto was going to have him killed. It was very strange. And I just remember thinking, I don't think it's really like that out there, but I mean, I could be naive. I don't know.
Hey, Nate, you were going to ask a question a little bit ago?
Yeah.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to ask. So I was listening. Well, when he was talking about Monsanto and everything, because that dude lives like in Ankeny in Iowa, and I mean, just massive amount of wealth. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's just curious that what people think about that company and everything. I mean, dude's got his own private golf course. It's just crazy. But
Wow.
so,
Well,
anyways,
in the organic food world, Monsanto's kind of the devil.
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
doesn't
I
surprise
get,
me.
yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, like, I mean, from a business standpoint, you know what I mean? I mean, how big they are and how, I mean, it's a extremely popular product that, you know, I think in the last 10 years has got a lot of clout, you know, and a lot of negative, you know, obviously with the lawsuits and stuff like that. But I mean, in my opinion, you go back to like the year 2000, no one thought twice to spray it and use it, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think in that time, the popularity of it and the comfort of using a product that worked so well just grew. And so even now, I hate to say it, but you know, 20 years later with lawsuits and everything like that, people still buy it off the shelf because it's a product that's
Right.
proven to work. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're just making,
So
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't have any problem with it. I mean, I guess standing here talking to you guys, I kind of feel the same way about Roundup as I do like firearms. You know, I mean, good tools if used properly. The one
Sure.
concern I have
Good point.
about it is on wheat, organic, non-organic wheat. And I haven't really substantiated this, but I have heard that they will spray wheat late in the crop's life cycle to make it ripen more quickly so they can kind of control when they're going to harvest it. And a real late application like that, you know, you might get traces of it in bread.
Yeah, that seems suspect to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm not an
whereas
expert
like,
in the timing, but yeah. Seems,
yeah.
yeah.
Whereas like a Roundup ready corn, you know, the applications are really early, you know, before there are, you know, ears of corn there, before the edible portion of the corn is visible. So, you know, how much is actually, you know, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, it's not a real friendly name in my industry, but
No, and,
So,
and then when you
go
get
ahead, Nate.
into, I was gonna say, like when you get into, you know, you were talking about corn and all that, and when you get into agriculture in general, and when you're talking, I mean, some of these guys have hundreds of thousands of acres. I mean, in my opinion, that like to do it organically would be pretty hard, cost effectively to do. So I think that's one of the things that, you know, just, you know, let's just say a guy's got 100,000 acres. He's going to buy either something that's got to be within price point. It's got to work, and something that maybe grandpa did and dad did. So now son does, you know, and generally that's kind of like farming, you know, it's like, well, my granddaddy did it. So my dad did it. And that's the way I'm going to do it because that's the way I was taught and that's the way I was raised. But, and so I think like now, I think a lot more people are conscious of what goes into their food and stuff like that. And I don't think that the old school farmers that live in, maybe I'm going to say the Midwest, are just not on that same level as someone growing like an organic garden in their backyard that's really focused on eating, you know, stuff that has not been raised with chemicals and whatnot.
yeah. I mean, I listened to a very interesting podcast the other day about what's going on in the meat packing industry. You know, how beef is very expensive, but ranchers are going bankrupt. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, in this country, I didn't really know this. I had always heard great things about Ronald Reagan. I mean, I was a young man when he was president, but a lot of the deregulation that we all know of as Reaganomics resulted in a few major beef processors and a few major grain processors. And so farmers are very much at the whim of what the grain elevator is going to pay them for their corn. And they've
It's like
got
the McDonald's effect or whatever. You kind of got to fall in line, and you want to do what gets you enough money to do it again next year, you know, and yeah, you chase that dollar. Same thing in pharmacy. Yeah.
Yeah. So their only way to become more profitable is to scale up with more and more acres. And when you're talking huge farms, you know, you've got to control weeds in a time effective way. And so that GMO Roundup Ready corn is hard to beat. And, they're only getting $3 or $4 a bushel. So it's hard to blame the farmers. I don't blame them at all. I think they're good people. They're just trying to work with within the markets that they have for them. Vegetables are a little different because you can get vegetables at a good price from local farmers that are not using chemicals. But when you're talking about the pressure of farmers, large scale grain farmers, to feed our country and to have groceries that are as cheap as they are, loaves of bread for $1, they can't go out there and mechanically cultivate corn at that scale, so the sprays are what works.
So, hey, back to your products here. I got a question. And actually, this was a question I received before the show. You were saying that the chicken manure, the hen manure, is composted and not heat treated. So, what are the benefits of that being composted and not heat treated? And also, do you have any issue or worries of like E. coli or diseases since it's not heat treated? And how do you know that? Does it get tested that it doesn't have any contamination?
That's a good question. That wasn't even planted. Thank you for that. Yeah. It is tested. So strangely, for organic produce that you eat, does not need to be tested for pathogens like that. No, it doesn't. But we do test it every year, and I'm thinking about why. And it's for people that are Primus certified, which is it's not an organic requirement. It's a food safety, like a very stringent food safety audit that large scale producers can opt to do, and it kind of gets them a gold star in the food safety world. They require a pathogen test.
Is it similar to does it fall in line with like FSIS?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, this is like, so anyways, I have if somebody is getting GAP certified and they want to do it, I think by Primus, who's the most stringent, I think other organizations are going to start doing this as well. Anyways, I have to get all those Revita products tested annually for fecal chloroform, salmonella. There's 4 of them. And then also I have to do all that and heavy metals for hemp and cannabis, which is strange that
I've seen the reports on your website, like the it's showing that it was tested and stuff. And I did see a lot of stuff listed on there, so what's the why do you guys compost it, not heat treat it? Like, what are some of the benefits of that?
Okay. So back to that. So we have 4 Revita products. The 343 is the original, and it's a price point. It's the cheapest one. That one is composted in a static pile. So the USDA for certified organic produce, when you eat the leafy greens, in order to be able to apply this fertilizer to a vegetable that you eat the leafy greens, to be able to apply it within 120 days, which, a lot of those crops, that's their whole life cycle. The manure has to be processed in one of 2 ways. It can either be static composted, which is just a pile, and has to reach 170 degrees for like 3 hours, and then you have to heat treat it to like 180 degrees. That's how we do our 343. It's a price point product. It's the fast and easy way to do it. Then the 545 and the 833, the high nitrogen, we do the other way, that is approved by the USDA for application for crops that you eat the leafy green within 120 days of harvest. And that is in the turned windrow. We do that because the microbial life, that the beneficial bacteria and the fungi that's encouraged and cultivated during composting, we don't want to kill that off with a heat treat. And it works. We've got a certified kind, which is the equivalent to certified organic in the cannabis world. Since cannabis is, not federally legal, there can't be a USDA organic. there's this certified kind, which is the same standards and facility in Akron. And she takes the 545 and you can see it on her YouTube video. She let me film her doing it. She actually brews it like you would compost tea, and it gets that same froth like you would with a compost tea. So the microbial life is the reason for all that, Zach. Because, we really, what we strive to do is have a product that you put in the row with your crops, or you apply to your lawn, and everything that crop is going to need throughout the year is right there in the root zone. Micronutrients, your NPK, your beneficial microbes, as well as the manures that the microbes are pooping out, which we call microbial biochemicals. So yeah, it's really all in the name of, we do that process for our higher end products, for the microbial, the biology.
Awesome.
So whenever you have feather meal, where does that come from?
Yeah, so we buy that from chicken houses, and that has been something I've learned. They're not all created equal. We have a product called guided nitrogen, which is a 1200 pelletized feather meal, and only feathers from a certain part of chickens will pelletize. And I spent the first year trying to develop that product, and I'd take 2,000-pound bags of feather meal and the kelp and the humate and everything we mix into it over to a pelletizing plant, and I'd go back and pick it up, and it looked exactly like it did when I dropped it off. And we quickly learned and I still don't even know what it is. There's just a certain SKU of feather meal that you have to purchase if you want to pelletize it. And so, yeah, you can buy that there's commodity brokers that you get that from.
So feather meal is mostly, it's just a nitrogen source. It doesn't have any other. Okay.
It is nasty. It is like, I handle all kind of nasty stuff, gentlemen. Manures and worm castings, and feather meal is the grossest. I don't know why. It's like, imagine brown sugar, only the oiliness and brown sugar that comes from molasses comes from like feather grease. It's gross. But it's organic, 13% nitrogen, which that's a huge number in the organic world for nitrogen. So we put a little bit of that.
Go ahead.
Right, we put a little bit of that in the 545 because when we add the potash and the bone meal, it kind of dilutes the nitrogen, so the feather meal boosts it back up. In the 833, which is the one I recommend for lawns, we call it high end. We also put a little blood meal because the different organic nitrogens release at different speeds. Feather meal is very, very slow, very slow. It depends on the temperature, and how active the microbes are. But, the composted manure will release first, and then the feather meal might be, depending on the biology in your soil, it could be 3-4 weeks later. So blood meal kind of fills that gap. Blood meal is awesome.
And blood meal,
very expensive.
That can release without microbial activity, can it?
Blood meal?
Soluble? Yeah, it's water soluble.
Yeah, it can. It still takes a little bit of mineralization from the bacteria, but not as much because it's soluble, and it's awesome. It's just expensive. We sell bags of blood meal, just blood meal. I think they're like $50. That's something I've seen explode in price in the 10 years I've had this business. We sell those for like 23. But it is an awesome fertilizer. I'm looking at the notes from when you guys had Micro Life on.
Yeah, I was curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things I wanted to make sure I mentioned is that he sounded like he's got a great product, but I wrote down here that that ours is the Revita products are truly organic. There's not the USDA standards in lawn care that there are in vegetable production. So most of ours are OMRI listed. You guys are familiar with that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be used for certified organic vegetable production. So it's not nothing non-organic there. And then they said they don't use poultry manure because they don't know what the birds were fed, which is a legitimate point. I just wanted to say for ours, like I may have mentioned, we buy that manure from Eggland's Best hen houses, and Eggland's Best eggs are higher nutrient eggs because they're fed an all vegetarian, high protein soy diet. So it's that's very controlled. They would lose their Eggland's Best charter if they fed anything suspicious.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I was curious, prior to digging deeper into lawn care, learning about other alternative sources like natural, organic, like fertilizers and stuff. Milorganite is like the big one that everybody in lawn care is familiar with. And that comes from folks in Milwaukee, not chicken, but do you know much about that product and how it would compare to what you guys are doing as far as nutrients or microbial? Like, do you know anything about if their process is different such that it's not, equivalent? I don't know if my question makes sense.
So you said folks, it comes from folks, and it truly does come from folks. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good folks of Milwaukee.
It's human feces, and it's So I don't know how they process that, but that's a prime example. Like, so that can be considered organic lawn care, and in organic vegetable production, that would get you quickly not organic if you use that. So yeah, I don't know the whole lot about that product. I know it's very inexpensive, and occasionally, maybe once every 3 years, somebody will email me a snapshot of that on a Walmart's website, and they'll say, "Is this really organic? Seems so cheap." And I just chuckle and say, "Well,
I think it's not. I don't think it's certified,
organic.
but so they say it's natural or something, right? Yeah, they can't say organic, like probably because who knows what the folks are eating over there, and But yeah, it's not truly organic, but it's natural.
So that's the thing. So in the food industry, organic versus natural, organic has a ton of regulations. It has to meet a ton of criteria, whereas natural is very broad. So if you go to the grocery store, you will see a lot more products labeled natural because of that exact reason.
Yeah.
So because if
it's OMRI certified, that means it's been certified organic, and OMRI is more for agricultural use versus something like USDA or something for food.
Well,
I have that right.
It's pretty complicated. In 1988, the USDA decided, they need to get their arms around this organic thing. And so anything edible can be certified organic if it meets what they call the NOP, National Organic Program Standards. Now, a product, an input like a fertilizer, a weed killer, a bug killer, OMRI, which is Organic Materials Review Institute, is a separate entity. It's not part of the National Organic Program. It's a private company. They just pre-screen inputs, and it's very expensive. So like our 545 has been used by organic producers since 1987. It just only was OMRI listed a couple years ago, and that's because I chose to spend the money to have that done. It just gives it instant notoriety. The other route that inputs can take to an organic farm, so you don't have to have an OMRI listing to be used in organic food production. The other route is that the user, the farmer, can have their organic certifier, the one that says, yes, you can now sell your apples as certified organic. They can review the input. And so then I email that certifier all my ingredients and my processes, and then they can say, yes, that can be used for organic production. So if you get an OMRI listing, it's just kind of like a
seal of approval.
Yeah, it's a pre-screen is what it is, but it's expensive. Every product, it's about $1,000 per product per year minimum, and it goes up from there depending on how much you sell.
Sure, that's interesting.
What about insecticides or fungicides? What do you guys have available to buy in regarding that to your organic listings?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. there are a decent amount and getting more insecticides and fungicides. It was for years just neem oil for bugs, and then pyrethrin, which is, derived from chrysanthemums. And then for fungus, it was copper. That's about it. And then sulfur. And then recently, and that's those are what we sold. And the National Organic Program for Food says that all those things are allowed if cultural practices are exhausted, meaning, rotating crops so that you don't get a huge annual population of bugs, trimming excess branches so you get airflow to prevent fungus. So if you've proved you've done all those things, you can use these products, even though they might be OMRI listed. But what I was getting at is Marrone, Marrone, is a company that's just come out in the last probably 5 years with some really innovative disease and insect controls that use microbes. They're biofungicides and bioinsecticides. Regalia is very popular. And these guys are just awesome. Their field techs are brilliant, and they'll come out and they give these great talks. And unlike no company I've ever seen, they are not afraid to say, whatever, our Regalia product is actually enhanced if you use, and they'll just give you the name of their competitor's copper, and they'll publish and say, hey, actually it's really enhanced by using this much of this competitor product. They just, really want people to succeed, because disease and insect control is the hardest part of organics, if you ask me. That's why organic apples are very hard to come by, because it's so hard to kill bugs, and apples just don't look pretty on the shelf if they're organic. They're small and they've got holes in them. And yeah, so
that's a big thing, is presentability, or whatever the word is,
Yeah, we used to have an apple tree in my backyard as a kid, and I swear to God, every summer I maybe got one apple out of that whole tree, because seriously, we didn't do anything to it. It was just an apple tree that grew, and you go to grab one, look at it, take a bite, and there's holes every single one of them. So
yeah,
makes complete sense.
I've never tried it. I have no interest in trying organic apples. I have one customer that does it, and he wrote like a 5-page paper on how to do it. And when people call me with that question, I just say, let me send you an email. And yeah, so that's what's going on in the disease and insect world, organically, those products. And so what I've done in our catalog, we try to make it, products, but also a lot of advice, because, you've got all these practices, how to do it successfully, coupled with all this stuff we've talked about, with certifiability. It's confusing. And so Marrone has actually blessed off on, I have a whole page there of, if you have this fungus problem, use this product and mix it with this and mix it with this. And you have to get all these manufacturers to agree to allow me to put that in writing. And also, I mix in there like seaweed, because spraying crops is a chore, and, getting out there and trying to spray the undersides and the top sides. And while they're doing it, it makes sense to also get some sort of fertility there. So liquid seaweed can mix with everything, and that's super beneficial in lawn care. Have you guys ever tried that?
Yeah, actually, kelp is pretty big in our community. So, I mean, yeah, when you say seaweed, are you saying kelp, or is that different?
Yeah.
Or
No, yeah, kelp. Ascophyllum nodosum. It's Maxicrop is the one that we carry, and that the soluble powder version of that is actually in our Revita fertilizers. The idea being, as soon as water hits our fertilizer, it's going to release a little bit of liquid kelp in that vicinity of that granule. But yeah, foliar spraying has been a big thing since I bought this company. It was very rarely done 10 years ago, but then are you guys familiar with Advancing Eco Agriculture, John Kempf?
no?
He's this Mennonite guy from Northern Ohio, and he just, for better or for worse, he kind of set out to prove you could foliar spray a plant into peak photosynthesis, and that the roots would actually, he's got a very popular podcast, the exudates would actually build organic matter and even balance your soil. I mean, it's completely backwards to what the last 100 years of research have proven. I don't think that it's true. I think he's had some successes on some very specific crops, like cherries and, orchard kind of situation. But what he has done and, crossed my mind when I was thinking about doing this talk tonight is it could benefit the lawn care business. He has got people tissue testing. Do any of you guys do that?
We talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know, what the cost benefit would be, but you can soil test, which we do quite a bit of that and looking at soil tests. But, when you talk about chemistry mixed with biology and what nutrients are actually getting to the plant, the only real way to find that out is the tissue test or sap test is what they do. And so we've actually dedicated a page in our catalog to just, get a tissue test. And here are single nutrient chelated, OMRI listed sprays that come in a gallon, if for zinc, copper, boron, manganese. And if you're deficient in any of those things, these gallons, they range from $20 to $36. They go a long way. Then you can, quickly, we still think you should try and add that to your soil for next year, but, save your crop or save your grass this year and foliar spray and try and get that into the sap stream more quickly. And I think that's some good science there.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a few kelp products out there that people are using consistently, and I think we've all probably used it.
Which one's that?
There's a Simple Lawn Solutions out there. What Olee, you know more about that. What's that called?
I don't know which one it is that has it.
It's the blue
Talking
label.
about with the seaweed in it, the humic acid.
Yeah,
With the
it's
seaweed.
humic acid and seaweed product spray. And yeah, there's a couple other ones like that, like humic and fulvic and kelp sprays out.
And that's why I think those have worked throughout the years. Is kelp, like other ocean products, has a little bit of all elements in it, and people didn't realize what they were doing. I'm starting to kind of put this together in my head. I think they may not realize what they were doing was, without the tissue test portion, by foliar spraying kelp on any plant, if there's a process that plant needs to go through, and is looking for a nutrient, can't find it in the soil, just a little tiny bit of it in that seaweed coming through the foliage is gonna get it done. So it's kind of a silver bullet deal with the kelp.
It's interesting that more. Oh, go ahead, Olee.
Microlife also has all that stuff mixed together. Do y'all do anything with molasses?
We sell it, and we mix it. That high nitrogen feather meal pelletized product I talk about, that has molasses in it, and also diatomaceous earth. And we put those two things in there because feather meal is so slow to break down. The diatomaceous earth, within that pellet, makes little tunnel pathways for the bacteria to kind of get into the pellet, and then the molasses idea, to excite the bacteria to break it down faster. And we sell it by the 5-gallon bucket also, just for whatever people use it for, all kind of different stuff.
We got a shout out in the chat. Says Ted, Joel Braun's friend Ryan DeMay from Columbus says hello. Keep up the great work and thanks for sharing the time with these gentlemen.
Okay.
I was actually on the phone with Ryan a few weeks ago, and I told him you were coming on, and he was saying some good things about you. So
yeah. Let's see. He's Joel is one of our distributors, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. He works with one of our turf distributors. Okay, yeah. Well, that's nice of him to say that.
So got somebody in here who knows you.
What were you going to say, Bill?
Oh, yeah. I was just curious. The more I've looked into lawn care and learning about this, it seems like there's a ton of science behind it. And it, certainly probably stems from crops and agriculture, that sort of thing. But, getting into, big ag companies and all this kind of stuff, a lot of this stuff's geared towards crops. And, now that states are legalizing cannabis and that's becoming kind of a crop, of its own sort. Do you guys feel like there's potential if that market continues to grow to kind of cater to their needs to help them kind of optimize their crop for their customers?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yes, I absolutely do. There's a company out of Colorado called
Maggie Spawn,
Montana Grow.
No, it's something. So build a soil, and they are similar to us. They sell the different amendments, kelp, rock phosphorus, but they'll sell it in like 5 pounds. Because I think with cannabis, the market is really two-pronged there. There's commercial grade growers, which we really sell a lot to, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, like larger scale. But then there's also a huge market, like in Illinois, you're allowed to have like 5 plants in the basement with a medical card. And so, we don't have the staff to do what Build a Soil does, and that's break these 50-pound bags that I get from these mines down into small bags and ship it out that way. So the household grower, I don't think we're gonna be a great resource for, because shipping 50-pound bags, which is what our minimum size is for most of our products, is just too expensive. But the commercial size, the larger scale grows, that's becoming more and more every year a big part of our business. We're developing and adding products for them. So we're excited to be working with them. Those people are very, very good growers, because you've got such a high dollar value for their crop that they can take the time to treat each plant like a patient instead of like a field. And it's fun to work with them. They know a ton and they're very into it.
So we have a thing we do every week, and we pick a lawn of the week. People submit hashtag KOTG lawn of the week, and we choose the lawn of the week. So we might transition into that here real quick.
Okay.
So
we had a kick-ass submission this week.
Yes.
Sounds like it's all snow up here, but other folks around the country got some green grass growing. I'm excited.
So sometimes we get where it's the off season, so we tell people they can be creative, and then we also some of our warm season folks can pop in with a submission here. We've had Australians win, so if you want to go ahead, Bill.
So we got Dad's Home Lawn this week as our KOTG Lawn of the Week winner. Hey-o!
Looking good.
I like the kids in the photo. That's fun. I think
Single
he's got
doubles.
3 kids. I don't know.
That
looks nice.
Straight though, Nate.
They got some curve to them, but
man, that is the straightest curved stripes I've ever seen.
I'm saying
it's
so
good.
Actually,
it's nice and straight though. It turns.
No, I've seen more pictures of his lawn and stuff. He posts some phenomenal stripes, but his backyard patio is got like a curve to it or whatever, and looks like he follows that to give it the shape. But no, they look great. I mean, that's got great color contrast. And the cool thing about it is, he's always posting stories about like his kids back there playing and stuff. So, like my kids, they step on my front yard and I want to, trip them and yank them off of there. But like the backyard, you kids go play in the backyard, which, like I said, kids are out there playing. Obviously, he's got the son with the little lawnmower there, so raising them right and doing the right thing. But no, it looks phenomenal. Great job.
What state is that? Got mountains and palm trees. It's pretty beautiful.
I'm thinking it's California. I think we were talking about it earlier because we were like, man, is this a current photo? And you got some palm trees there. You got looks like maybe some mountains in the background. I'm gonna say somewhere in California. but I don't know. I don't know where he's at, honestly.
It's.
I bet that solid wall helps to hide how much irrigation he needs to do that.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm not sure what the rules are. I lived in Colorado for a few years when I was in the Army, and man, you had to be careful. You had to buy a permit to water your lawn, and people would be telling on you if you didn't have that permit in your window. Water restrictions are a big deal out there.
That's crazy.
I think Brian, I think he has that sometimes, if I'm not mistaken. He's
in
out,
Utah.
they'll limit it in the summertime, I think.
Well, they can only do it like certain times.
Okay.
I think, like, or like certain days, like I've heard people talk about, like, we can only do it on odd days, and, this side of the town can do even days, and this side of the town is odd days or something like that. Or only from, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah. I did a new lawn at my house in Colorado, and it was a barely dry year. I don't think that's always the case. That was Colorado Springs. And even with the permit that was in my window, it could only be before 8 a.m. and after 8 p.m. that I could water.
So
which is not ideal watering times either at all, but humidity and stuff is different at that elevation for sure.
Yeah, it was really dry.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up here, there is one product I wanted to talk about, and we were kind of briefed on humic acid earlier, and that's kind of big in our community right now. And I know you sell, and it's not necessarily humic acid, but it's that ag lig. It's like straight Leonardite, isn't it?
Yep.
And so what do you sell a lot of that product, and also like who's buying it, and what are the benefits of that?
Yeah, we sell a decent amount of that, but more of it goes to, we mix that into any Revita product of ours. It says Revita. It's the Maxicrop soluble seaweed mixed in, and then the humate, the Leonardite. The different analysis have different products, but they all have those two. And the founder of our company, he really felt strongly about those two things. So that Leonardite is it's prehistoric organic matter mined out of the Dakotas, and it's kind of hard to understand what the benefit is. So the liquid form, I had an artist do up a label for that product. I got a picture of it in the catalog, and it just says, "Give your roots claws." And the idea being, some of the negatively charged nutrients that are super important, like boron, are hard to hold on to in the soil being mostly clay, and clay being negatively charged. They kind of want to repel each other, but organic matter will hold on to it. But that's usually only 3 to 10%, or maybe a little higher in a lawn. So that humate, that Leonardite, having that in the soil will hold on to nutrients, and so the claws idea of holding on. And then it also releases a little humic acid, which will help to break up minerals in the soil and make them more available to the plant. So, the claws kind of dig in, and we sell it. Some people will spread it just if they've got a field that they're really trying to encourage biology, or it's super tight clay. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it's $20 a bag, and they'll just spread that. We sell a lot of it in a liquid form. People mix it into drip irrigation for crops. If they have an injector.
Speaking of right there, that's a good segue to drip irrigation. Next week, who do we got on, Olee?
Easy flow injectors. Hey, so at your place, can people stop in and buy? Like
Yes,
locals stop in and buy, don't have to worry about freight?
Yes, we have. And to combat freight, we opened a branch in Wisconsin, about an hour north of Madison, and then we're in Northeast Ohio, about 30 minutes east of Akron. And and you can stop in. Both of those are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 and 7 to 4 in Ohio. And then on our website, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a dealer list that links to a website that we keep updated. We've got, 3 to 5 dealers in pretty much all Midwest states. Most of them won't stock a whole lot of products outside of the Revita, but they all will take orders. And, the next time they're ordering, they'll bring whatever out of our catalog that you need. And that's a good way to avoid freight.
Yep. So you'll sell like the liquid Humic, and you'll sell the bag stuff too if they want it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you do want to just get it UPS to your house, buying it on our website, we use Shopify, which if any of you guys have a small business, they're just great. And you end up being thrown into a huge consortium with all the other Shopify owners. And so you get a lot better UPS prices. So that, whereas if you call our shops and we have to put it through our UPS terminal, that's like 20% more expensive. But the liquids, as long as it's anything below 50 pounds, UPS is reasonable. It's when you get into those 50-pound bags that ends up being expensive. But yeah, any of those dealers can order anything. And then the next time we deliver to them, they'll include it. You just got to leave time for that whole process to play out.
Awesome.
Looks
Yeah, so
there's a
like Olee
dealer-
said, we got easy flow. What is it? Injectors
Easy
for
flow,
irrigation.
the injectors
The
for the
beefy.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, they're going to be on next week as our guest. And then the following week we got something special too. I don't know if we should mention it or not, but
That's 2 weeks after, I think.
We
is that
could.
2 weeks out? Oh wait, no, wait, yeah.
Mm,
I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
2 weeks.
it's 2 weeks after that. Got some good ones coming up in the next
We got
few
some
weeks.
real good ones coming up through March 15th. And then that kind of ends our
Season
little streak
begins
of guests. Yeah.
March 20th.
Hey, Ted, someone in the chat asked how would they be able to get their hands on a catalog?
You could just send me an email, info@ohioearthfood.com, OHIOEARTHFOOD, so food singular.com with your address and send one out.
Gotcha.
It is cool. I got one this year because I got the 833, the 545, and the that ag leg humate, and that catalog was awesome. Like I like just looking at stuff like that, and it was a nice pamphlet, and it had so much information on it, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, catalogs
So is your molasses liquid or is it powder?
it's liquid. It's real thick black strap, certified organic. 5-gallon bucket weighs like 54 pounds and it's dense. But if you're trying to excite bacteria and microbes, that's the ticket. Catalogs are kind of going away in some industries, but with so many Amish, Mennonite, and I don't know. I'm glad to hear you say that. We spend a tremendous amount of time on that catalog, but it's people seem to like it. I get a lot of requests for it.
I read it every couple of days. I'll look at it and start reading something different I didn't see on it. Like it's like, dang, that's a cool product, or that's cool. Like I was just looking at the mycos product, like the mycorrhizal, and that stuff's pretty interesting to me. But it, I don't understand it all. But
Yeah,
I know
well,
Olee messed around with some of that stuff this year too, putting down a 343 with some mycos in it.
mycorrhizal fungi makes a ton of sense in a lawn because it's going to be a lawn for a very long time. So do you guys all use that? I mean, have you had successes with inoculating mycorrhizal fungi?
I couldn't say
do
yes
that.
or no, but what I had was a 333 with the mycorrhiza, and I used it at aeration and seeding. Just trying to help more root establishment or whatever.
Yeah.
Because what they say is, once that plant dies, that mycorrhiza is gone. It's like on the roots or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Mycorrhizal fungi has to have a living root. And so in an annual crop rotation, say corn or beans, it's tough because it doesn't grow that fast. But, in your lawn, as long as you keep the lawn alive, it should continue to grow. And then those long string fungi, the hyphae, will just continue to grow and expand the network. Is that 333 with Mike? Is that an Earthworks product?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. They're similar to us. They've kind of focused more on golf courses and lawn, where we've focused more on agriculture. But yeah, they're 343 or 333 is very similar to our 343, only they offer that one with Myco, which that's a neat idea.
It's basically just three. I don't know what changes it, but it's basically 343 with the mycorrhizal. I don't know what changes the number. I don't know why that changes. Your phosphorus or whatever. I don't know why that changes down, but
yeah, maybe the mycorrhiza adding that, because those are percentages. If they're adding some granular mycorrhiza, might dilute down where they can't guarantee a 4% phosphorus. Not a huge deal, but yeah, mycorrhizal fungi, we've got a lot of products with that. We've really started to encourage that, and we offer a potting soil that has that. We've got some liquid starter products that have that, where we mix fish and seaweed and humate and then the myco. And I really believe strongly that that's a microbial product that really works and is provable. The trick is it just has to be used properly to get any results, and it all comes back to that living root. People, I think, expect mycorrhizal fungi to take a old worn out lawn and make it beautiful, but anywhere where there's a spot where there's nothing growing, the mycorrhiza is just going to die, and you're just wasting your money. So if it's done right, and I think the best way to do it is to buy the granular product that we sell, and on a new seeding to sow that with your new seeds, and those little granules will sit there and wait. It's miraculous. And the minute that root pops out of that germinated seed, it'll latch on and start growing. But it takes years for those hyphae to grow long enough to really work well. So whole new topic. That could be a whole new topic, but
does your granular have a NP and K also, or is it just a granular?
The granular myco?
Yes, sir.
No, that's just propagules, which are basically the spores of the mycorrhizal fungi. And unfortunately, that only, yeah, you can spread. Unfortunately, that only comes in a 40-pound bag, which will do like, I think it's like 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So that'll go a long, long way, and it's kind of expensive, like $200 or $300. But a good one to split with a couple of neighbors on a new seeding.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool in some tomato pot plants and stuff like that. Tomato, some gardening stuff.
Someone in the chat earlier, I can't remember who it was. I saw that they're talking about dipping their the plants in it, and then I'm assuming then they're going to plant them in their soil. So I can't remember. I saw it a few minutes ago. Made the comment.
That wouldn't be something to use on like an established bushes or like perennial, hydrangeas or anything like that. You'd only use that if you were newly seeding something or newly planting something.
Well,
for full benefit.
You can use it on an existing, you just have to get it down to the roots. And so the manufacturer would tell you to take a piece of 1/2-inch conduit, like for electrical conduit, like those cheap pipes, and pound that down to the soil, and then take a funnel and pour a liquid mix down in there, and it's just
let it kind of soak. Yeah.
Are you talking about transplanting though, like buying something from Lowe's and putting in the ground is what you're talking about, Bill?
Well,
are you talking about pre-existing?
Like if you already had some plants out there, you wanted to give them a little boost for next season. You would, I guess, you need to get down to the root zone for all that mycorrhizal activity. You can't just like throw it on the surface and then whatever. Right. But if you were going to get some new boxwoods or whatever from Sam's or something, plant them, you could put that in there at time of planting.
Yep. And that same with transplanting. That's how I feel about a lawn too. To spray it on an existing lawn, it's very expensive. You're going to lose most of it to the foliage, or it's not going to do anything. But at aeration, that would make some sense. Get it down. You just got to get it down in. That's why a new planting, it makes tons of sense. So
Cool. Yeah, you guys are similar to Earthworks. I know at the beginning of the year, I was talking with Olee, and we were like, wait a minute, a lot of these analyses are the same. He was using some Earthworks, and I had, but just difference was that his had some ammonium sulfate, and that was about the only thing.
It's an 822.
It's 822, yeah.
And they blend ammonium sulfate with the 343 and come up with the 822.
Yeah. So they're going, see, with going towards agriculture, you couldn't use the ammonium sulfate. I don't know what their composting process is. I think they're more the heat treat, but that'd be a question.
They don't pasteurize. They do the windrows. They they got humongous buildings, just long, and they got rows in there.
Okay. Yeah. And that's great. That's the way to encourage the microbes.
Yeah. It's not pasteurized, or I guess maybe it gets to 160, maybe. I don't know a certain temperature, but I know that it's not heated. And I know it's from egg laying chickens the same way, in cages, got the conveyor belt that they poop on, that type of deal.
Yep. That's how we do it.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Probably wrap this up, but yeah, really appreciate you coming on, Ted.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ted. That was great info.
You gave some good, honest answers, where it was, and a lot of good info. Learned a lot.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on. I sure appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Turf.
What was that?
Get you more into turf and get you some local people stopping by.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. So, hey, how's your lawn look? I know you're not like necessarily a lawn company, but you take care of your lawn.
I really do. The back lawn is looking great. The front lawn, I've got a mid-size maple tree. The roots are very close to the surface, and it is really hard. Have you guys ever dealt with that?
Yeah,
I haven't. I've seen some places with that where it's hard to get the grass to grow underneath. Yeah,
I've slowly taken branches off. I mean, I don't want to kill this poor thing, but to try and let some sun get underneath it, so it looks great everywhere other than where the maple tree is. And I mean, I feel like this summer will be the 6th summer that I've been applying compost and reseeding and compost, and I can't run a slit seeder because it just hits these roots, and it's very close to becoming a rock wall with tulips in it. I'll tell you that.
But they make some
that's awesome that you're
special. They make some different cultivars that are designed to grow there.
Oh,
I think
really?
they're called like a creeping fescue or something, or a hard fescue, or a red fescue.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I have the opposite. I have all suns. So I don't know a whole lot about those cultivars, but I know they do make them.
I mean, the soil is
tolerant.
Yeah, it's super shaded. The soil is maybe a 1/2 inch there, and I think there's something about. I need to research it more, honestly. But the competition that the maple tree doesn't like competition.
Mm-hmm.
It's winning so far, I'll tell you that. So,
all right. Well,
all right.
I'm going to send us out with a little bit of music. If you want to stay on, Ted, you can. But yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off of here and get to bed. I gotta drive all the way over to Eastern PA tomorrow. So.
Dang, yeah, that's a long day.
Yeah.
All right, get some rest.
All right, I'll see you.
Thank you.